Hey there! Welcome to Social Work Portal's tutorial on how to conduct assessments and intakes in your Case Management Hub account. Intakes and assessments are a core activity for social workers, case managers, therapists, and counselors. Assessments provide keys to understanding a client's treatment needs, and intake forms are necessary for gathering client data and obtaining necessary consent. We've built both function and flexibility into the intake and assessment process in Case Management Hub. In this video, you'll learn where to find your built-in assessment and intake templates, 3 ways to conduct intakes and assessments, and how to create your own intake and assessment templates. Let's go through where to find your assessments. There are 4 areas where you can find all your intake and assessment templates. First is here on the dashboard in the Quick Create area. You can easily start an assessment or intake by clicking the appropriate icon. You'll see that the forms are categorized to make it easier for you to find what you need. The second place to find these forms is in your sidebar menu on the Client Assessments and Intakes tab. The third is when creating a new client. As you add a client in your account, you can choose to send them an intake and/or an assessment immediately as you're creating them. You can also find assessments and intakes in the client record. We'll look at that shortly. Now that you know where to find these forms, let's see how to use them. Intake and assessment forms in Case Management Hub are handled in the same way, so the processes that I'm about to show you are applicable for both types of forms. We're going to start with a common way to conduct an intake or assessment, which is to email the forms to your client. Say you're a therapist and you have a new client. You need to send them their intake paperwork and would also like to send them an assessment screener to fill out before the initial appointment. From your main dashboard, click on New Client. Add in the client details. Assign them to a site or program if desired. Click Yes next to Add Intake Form for client to fill out. Choose the desired intake forms. Now click Yes next to Add Assessment Form for client to fill out and choose the desired assessment. Save the client. Since you chose to email them the forms, you'll see an email preview window. Edit the email text as you like. Just do not remove the tags for URL or password. These are required for the client to access the forms. At the bottom, you'll see a checkbox to copy yourself on the email if you like. Click Send to send the forms to your client. On the other side, the new client follows the link in your email, uses the password to log in to our secure client portal, and can conveniently fill out and submit the forms online. Now when viewing your client's record, you can see the forms that you sent them listed on the appropriate tabs. If the form is emailed to the client, you'll see an email icon at the top. Once the client fills out and saves their forms, this email icon changes to a check mark. You can click to open the assessment to see the details. What if I need to email this client another intake or assessment form? Just click New to add a new assessment. You'll see the email icon at the top. Now, let's move on to another way to conduct an assessment. In some cases, you may want to print out the intake or assessment form for your client to fill out offline. Start at your main dashboard. Click on New Client Intake. Click on the form that you need to print. Click on the appropriate client if desired to pre-populate their name and any other mapped fields from their client record. Choose Print from the top. The form will be exported as a PDF that you can easily print out for your client. Note that if you've added our rebranding add-on to your subscription and you've uploaded your organization's logo, then your logo will appear at the top of any forms you print out. Now close this window. When the client returns the paper form, you can come back to their record and add the paperwork by uploading a copy to the client's files. Now, we'll go through the third method of conducting assessments in Case Management Hub, which is to enter them online in the platform. There are a few reasons that you may want to fill out the assessments online. One would be if you're doing an assessment that is not self-administered, but is completed by the clinician. Another is if you want to give the client the assessment verbally, while you enter the answers from your tablet while meeting with the client. Let's go through how this is done. Start at the dashboard and click New Client Assessment. Choose the appropriate assessment. Select the client. You can fill in your assessment in the online form. When finished, just click Save to Client Record. The assessment is saved on the Assessments tab on that client's page. Next, I'll show you how you can add your own assessment and intake forms to your Case Management Hub account. Start on your dashboard. Click New Client Intake or Assessment. Click to create your own template. Intakes and assessments follow the same form building process. Enter the name and description of your form. If you want your description to show on your form, check the box. Click Proceed. You start building a form by adding a Form section from the Form element drop-down at the top. Click the blue arrow to add it. Now scroll down to add a section label. This will show up on your form. Using sections allows you to name certain groups of information, such as client details or mental health history. Now I'm going to add a text box field for first name, and I'm going to put it inside my client details section. I'm going to make it a 2-column field. Now I'm going to map this to the client's record using the Client Database Mapping area. What this means is that when I use this form and choose the client, the first name from the client's record will populate in the first name field on my form. The mapping saves you a lot of time for any fields you can populate from the client's record. I'll add the last name field in the same way. Next, I'll add a selection choice for How did you find us? And I'll add in a few options. Continue building out your form, adding your section areas to hold specific information, and inside those adding either a text, single selection, or multi-selection field. You can also add blocks of text by using the text block element. Save your form when ready. Now, when you go back in to create an intake form, your template will be showing in the User-Created Intakes Form category. Don't want to create a form from scratch? You can also edit an existing template to save time. First, find the template you'd like to edit and click to open. Then click Edit Template. You are now in the same form builder that you used when creating a template from scratch. You can remove fields, add fields, or edit existing fields. Note that when you customize an existing template, the old version is overwritten and your new version is saved. Now, before we finish, I want to show you a few additional intake and assessment features. Let's visit Client Assessments and Intakes from the sidebar menu. I'll click New Client Assessment. Focus on the tabs across the top. The intake forms will have a similar layout. The first tab is where you can conduct a new assessment. I use the Send Assessments tab if I'd like to send more than a single assessment. If I'd like to email a client more than one form at a time, I can check the forms here on the New Client Assessment tab. Then click Send Assessments. You'll see the forms that you checked and can select your client and send them both at the same time. The Completed Assessments tab shows you a database of all the forms that have been completed by your clients. Just click into one of them to see the data. For staff members in your account that have an employee role, they will only see the data for the clients they've been assigned to. The last tab will show you any assessments that have been sent to clients but have not yet been filled out and submitted. And that completes our Social Work Portal tutorial on conducting assessments and intakes in your Case Management Hub account. Please check out our other video demos for more helpful tips on taking full advantage of all the awesome features available to you. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us anytime, and we'll be happy to help.